Almond flour, chocolate, I don't know. Whatever floats your boat, who cares? You've seen the eat.
Good times.
You're awesome, Red.
So are you.
I'm putting that like 3 segment up right now. You're awesome, Red. So are you. Brotherly love. Cancel, start. Welcome to Facing Time. My name is Jared Zuckerman, and I am so excited today to have a conversation with the first person who I'm having on for a second time because I consider him to be a social media marketing and hospitality guru and ex-New York City restaurant owner, ex-executive for he's a senior marketer, brand and digital strategist who just helps technology companies and hospitality groups basically get to the next level. And I'm just going to jump right into this and introduce everyone to Rev Ciancio, the burger lover.
Hi, Jared. Thanks. I was psyched the first time. I'm psyched again. Hopefully I don't get too repetitive. So it's great to be back. I love this show. I love what you're doing.
And you know, I'm so grateful to, I'm going to start off with saying this. This show has been created because of the conversations I've been having with people, who inspire me and motivate me, and even through people's life stories, just helping me to sort of achieve the next level in my life. And it's the conversations with you that ultimately led to me creating Facing Time. So I'm grateful for the conversations I'm having with you, I've had with you, and my future conversations, because without those conversations, Facing Time wouldn't have been here. So
awesome,
thank you.
man. I'm always super humbled to speak with you because I'm always like, come on, I'm not that nice a guy. I'm from Detroit and I'm an Italian. Like, there are pictures of me on the internet holding a baseball bat.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm impressed. This is the most color I've seen you wear in a long time. So
Thank you.
I'm in a good mood. And the last time we spoke here was, I think we were everybody was talking about phase 1. We didn't even hit phase 1 yet. And what we anticipated phase 1 and 2 and 3 would look like. And 1 and 2 went pretty smoothly. And now we're in phase 3, and indoor seating is not happening. And actually last week I ended up posting something on Food and City because I was confident that if we were going to have indoor seating for restaurants in New York City, it would only be 25%. In that case, for most restaurants, especially if they're not offering, if they don't have outdoor space, it's not worth it, right? And I actually got that one right. So there's no indoor seating right now in phase 3. And restaurants that have outdoor seating need to maximize their space. Those that don't really have outdoor seating or very limited outdoor seating, they need to be very, very creative. Phase 3, restaurants, New York City. No indoor seating. Restaurants can only rely on outdoor seating. How do restaurants survive phase 3 when they have very few seats, but they want to be open for their community?
So two things to think about, right? And I didn't come up with this on my own. I listened to people, right? One of my clients that I'm doing some work for actually decided they were going to do no seating at all. That the pickup and delivery model was easier for them to execute. Think about it this way. If I come and sit down in your restaurant and you got to bring me a glass of water, and then you got to see what I want for my order, and then there's the appetizer round, and then I need another drink, and then there's the entree round, and then take the check, whatever, right? You have to have multiple table touches. And that's labor intensive. That's highly labor intensive, right? If I order a meal to go, you like cook it, put in a box, out the door, it's gone. Right. So from an efficiency model, I've had a couple of restaurants go, look, it's easier for me. I can lower my labor pool. I don't have to hire a ton of people. I can manage this model. Right. And I've heard some restaurants that are actually making money with pickup and delivery only because they're able to manage some of those costs. Right. So you have to think like, does the outdoor dining, does what I can gain from that in efficiency match what I have to bring in from a labor perspective? So that's an important thing to look at. The other thing that I think, and this is for those that decide it is right to have outdoor dining, I want to tell you a little story. Last week, I went to a restaurant that had opened for outdoor dining, and I went there and I sat down, and there was contactless ordering, and the server was still super nice, and I had a real plate, and they did a super cloth napkin wrapped around food, and it was like a fine dining experience, except outdoors, right? And it was actually really cool because I got to have what would normally be an indoor experience outdoor, but something I couldn't recreate in my house, right? Why do we go to restaurants? It's not because we're hungry. It's because we want an experience. The food is actually secondary, right? And there's studies out there that have proven that people will return to a restaurant that had bad food if it had great service, right? Flash forward, I go to another restaurant, right? Again, it's outdoor dining, contactless payment, the whole 9 yards. The staff doesn't quite get kind of how to serve it yet. They don't understand how the contactless thing works. They still bring me a menu. It's a little awkward. The drinks come in a plastic cup with a straw and a wrapper. All my food that comes to my table is in like those silver round delivery tins. And it's like, it's awkward. It's kind of like I just ordered it, but I'm sitting outside your place and they had cheap tables. And like, anyway, the point being, like, it wasn't a great experience, right? I wasn't in my house. That was cool. I ordered from a restaurant. That was cool. It was great food. That was cool. But the rest of the experience kind of matched. Like, I could have just ordered this to my house and had it in my backyard, right? I know not everybody in New York City has a backyard, and I live in the burbs. But point being, if you're going to have outdoor dining, if you're going to invite guests to come to you, make sure that your experience matches their expectation. If you're just kind of doing it to do it, it's probably not worth it. Don't make it like you're now a grab and go cafe when you were like a super awesome brunch spot. You know what I mean?
But Rev, do you feel people's expectations have changed now because of the outdoor dining being still new and we're still in a COVID environment? How do restaurants adapt to customer expectations when customer expectations have changed? And in some ways, we're still learning what people want.
Yeah, and it's going to continue to change. I think they need to be agile, right? What people want today, what people want next week might not be the same thing. So you make a great point. I would just, from a restaurant operator's perspective, I would think about what's the experience I'm delivering. Did I make it worth coming to my business? Or did I just sort of recreate the delivery model except you sat here, right?
Right.
For some people, that might be good enough, right? I don't think that's the case, though. I think people want to have a restaurant experience. Like, they want to be waited on. They want to have flatware. They want to have drinks, whatever. They might not want you to touch a menu, or they might want to make sure you have a mask on, all that stuff. But still, restaurant is about experience, right? It's not necessarily about convenience. Because right now, it's way more convenient for me to walk 2 rooms over, grab something out of the fridge, throw it in the microwave, and eat it. That's convenient, right? Putting on a mask and washing hands and having a pocket full of sanitizer and trying to figure out how to order without touching something, and like, that's a lot of work. That's not convenient. So you better make sure that the experience is twice what the effort, what somebody puts in to have it. I
agree. One of the restaurants that I'm working with, we've created a fun experience. So when you get a disposable menu, right? Something that gets thrown out, but you get to check off what you want, right? There's little boxes, and the whole front has a sliding glass door and it's open. So you sit down with the menu and you check off what you want. On the other side, it's cocktails, full bar. And when you're done checking off what you want, you actually walk up to the bar and you give them the menu. And you can also ask any questions you want. And then you go to sit, and then everything comes to you, regular service. And there's no to-go cups. There's none of that. There's even contactless, payments as well. That's really what we're working on. I think really a lot of it is just contactless. Especially when we have in-house dining, right? You don't want people walking around all over the place past your table. We have to limit that traffic, right? We have to stop people from congregating. We have to have people compartmentalize. It's another thing, right? If you have someone in the front of the house, if you have the person in the front that's welcoming people, they stay there so they can't cross-contaminate. The people in the kitchen stay specifically in the kitchen. The people at the POS machine stays at the POS machine. People will stay in their certain areas to stop the foot traffic and cross-contamination. I think that's another big part of it.
Yeah, and I think the boss move is then what happens after the guest leaves, right? Assuming that they're doing contactless payment and they're paying online, you're capturing hopefully my name, email, phone number, and credit card, right? You have data on me. Hopefully within an hour, you're sending me a text message or email asking me if I enjoyed my experience, right? Maybe offering me a discount to return within 7 days or something, whatever. And then another 10 days later, you're going to reach out to me again and be like, hey, you missing those ribs? Like that's the boss move, right? That's how to deliver the experience. That's to show how you care. And I'm hoping that this contactless ordering enables and empowers restaurants to do more customer communication.
Exactly. It's the constant communication, but in a very tasteful way, so it doesn't come across as spammy, or it's not overbearing or overwhelming. So I'm actually working on creating the texting format, so it'll be like friends of whatever restaurant it is, and we're gonna actually start building a community around that, and start offering exclusives for people who are part of this community. And as we continue to expand the community, it just becomes something that everybody can be involved in. We're also asking for people's, if they want, their birth date. So we can actually wish them a happy birthday and offer them a special sort of birthday party if they want to dine with us. So I think all these little things are really, really important.
Arby's and Red Robin.
That's what they do?
My birthday is in a couple weeks, and so far only 2 restaurants have sent me an email wishing me a happy birthday and offering me a deal. Arby's and Red Robin, okay? Thousands of restaurants have my email address and phone number, thousands, right? If not, at least hundreds of restaurants have my contact information, from a purchase, an email list, a sign, whatever. And so far, Arby's and Red Robin are the only 2 restaurants to wish me a happy birthday and send me like a free ice cream scoop. I would expect that in this day and age that the first day of the month hits and you get like 600 emails, and every restaurant you've ever dined at ever is like, come in and get something free. So kudos to Arby's and Red Robin and anybody else that listens or watches this show and decides they're going to do it too.
I think it's important that restaurants look at their model and find missing opportunities, not how do we survive COVID? How do we survive this? You don't have to change your business. People already love you for what you do. You don't have to change the culture of what you do. You don't have to change your messaging. You don't have to change your logo. You don't have to change your food. People love you already. That's why they're going into the restaurant. And I've been finding a lot of restaurants shifting way too much where their identity is getting lost. We don't have to change the business. And I feel, sometimes when the environment changes, staying perfectly you, even as a human being or a restaurant, is exactly what you need to keep doing. I think it's just how you tell people what you're about shifts a little bit. And I'm finding restaurants are struggling.
Yeah, you can iterate the service model, right? You don't have to iterate the identity.
Exactly. And how do you, with uncertain economic times, not really knowing, because we're still in the middle of this, not knowing where this is going to go, if it's going to get worse or continue getting better, or maybe it'll plateau for a while. How do restaurants future-proof the business to keep it as stable as possible, regardless of economic downturn?
I mean, I guess if I had the right answer there, I'd probably be making a lot more money. But what the experts are saying is that you have to be as close to a 50-50 model as possible, right? Which is 50% dine in and 50% to go or pick up. I'm not sure that that's the case. I can imagine if you're like a Jean-Georges, right? Or even a chain like Ruth Chris, like, can you really get to a 50-50 model? Like, do I want John George to go? I don't know. I might not be the right audience, but the experts are saying you got to get as close to a 50-50 model as possible, right? And look, there's some other things people can do out there. Look, we're primarily talking to New York City here. Call Rethink NYC. If you don't know what Rethink is, they basically help feed people who who can't get meals, right? Sick people, impoverished people, like people who have trouble getting fed, right? The food insecure, they're called. They actually partner with restaurants to help them create meals during downtimes to help feed those people. So they'll either bring you funding or money or food, right, to help you cook meals in the hours where you're not busy, that you can basically turn into a soup kitchen, and you can have your staff just cranking out, packaged meals or whatever. You're not going to make as much money, but at least you're not going to be doing nothing, right? You have the square footage, you have the employees, you're paying the electricity, you're paying the water bill. Like if you're just not busy at lunch, or you're a super fine dining place and you haven't figured out what to do, but you have capacity, call Rethink and go, what can we do? Right. And maybe they can give you a couple dollars to help feed the food insecure. A, you're doing something good. B, you can get a couple dollars flowing in and out of the business, like less waste, like do something like that.
I think that's great as well, because if you're unsure when your busiest moments are, or if a restaurant is still trying to figure that out, it's going to eliminate waste as well, which is a huge component of profit loss. One of the things for me, so the 50-50 model, I have to say, I'm not sure I really agree with that. I think, first of all, it depends if restaurants are doing direct ordering or ordering through a third party. If you're not doing direct ordering, I can personally say I disagree with the 50-50 model. From my opinion, unless you have direct ordering, the 50-50 model is not sustainable.
Oh, yeah.
And I also think it depends how much outdoor space or what kind of food you have. There's certain food, like for Jean-Georges, right? I would never order delivery. First of all, there's some foods that for me, you just can't. Okay, every time you order fries, are they not a little soggy when they arrive? There's just certain things that for me, you don't order. Like I never order ramen, for example. There's just certain things that for me, you can't. But I think a big component of making sure the business is sustainable during a time where everybody's struggling is making sure restaurants are saying customers first, customers first, customers first. Customers come second. The first should be the team for the business. Because if your team, for one, don't feel valued, they're not happy, they're uncertain, right? Everybody's a little on edge still. If they don't come first, customers are never going to come first. It's kind of like saying, right, you can't expect people to love you until you love yourself. It's the same principle. 100%. And as long as your team comes first, your team is going to make sure that the customers and your guests come first. So I think that to me is literally half of making sure that your business is sustainable.
Yeah, I totally agree. The rest of it is iteration. Like, again, I know we're like almost picking on Jean-Georges here, but they were the first.
That's because we love them.
It was like the first fine dining restaurant. And we talk about per se. I don't care. But like, it's a great example. La Relève de Venise. I know you know that place, right? They have one thing on the menu, steak frites, nothing else. Like that's their whole model, which I think is genius. But they've iterated to now you get that as a sandwich. So now you can have the steak and the fries and the sauce, which is amazing, on bread. And you get to go like, that's pretty cool. That's a cool iteration. That's almost like a limited time offer. Like, hey, I really love this place. Like what if per se wanted to come up with like the most amazing banh mi you've ever had? And they were going to have like this banh mi and fancy coffee thing. Like that sounds cool. Like, I don't think that's off brand. If the staff is psyched about this new thing, right, they're going to deliver a great experience. And however it gets, whether it's eaten there or to go, like you're right. You don't have to change the brand. You can just iterate, make sure that the team's on board with a vision, which means clearly communicating a vision.
So last time we spoke, we were still very unsure with how everything was going to go, even though we knew that there were certain things that needed to happen, as far as contactless ordering, making sure there's certain safety measures. We knew all that, sharing that on social media. From when we last spoke here, which was about almost 2 months ago already.
Wow.
Yeah, it was about before the beard. Are you happy with what you're seeing restaurants doing overall? Or do you feel that in overall, blanketed, not like picking on any specific restaurant, but just overall, the restaurant industry in New York City, do you think so far the restaurant industry is doing the right thing? Or do you think New York is missing the mark?
I don't have a view of what every single restaurant in the entire country, let alone New York City, is
So
doing.
just like New York City, like this overall sort of
But
blanket.
I'm saying I haven't looked at every single one of them, so it's hard for me to judge on the whole. Um, I do think that there are some, maybe it's a smaller set who are violating rules, trust, safety, taking advantage of situations that are going to ruin it for everybody and make it hard to stop. Like, so if you're not playing by the rules and you're not playing by the guidelines, I think that's terrible, right? I think that's horrible. You're making it hard for everybody. I don't care if you think this is a hoax or a real thing. Like, it's affecting people, right? Your personal beliefs don't matter. It is affecting other people. And we kind of all have to do this together to help everybody, right? And selfishness is the wrong way to operate here. It's not going to help anybody. It's going to make it harder for everybody in the long term, right? So what is my opinion of how New York City restaurants are handling? Well, it'd be on an individual basis. If you're playing by the rules and you're supporting your community, you're doing the right thing, I'm for it, right? Here's one thing I haven't really seen restaurants doing that I'd recommend is I'm seeing lots of people post about what safety measures they put into play, what their servers have to do, how they're cleaning tables, new HVAC. I'm seeing all that, right? What I'm not seeing is restaurants, what they're asking their customers to do. If I'm going to come dine with you, what is the social contract I'm signing, right? Am I required to wear a mask? Is it mandatory that I have sanitizer? Do I have to wash my hands? Do I have to sit 6 feet apart? Can I come with my family or can I bring a friend that was also I don't know, right? Consumers are going to break the rules and bend the rules and do what they want and make it unsafe for other people if you don't establish the rules of play on both sides. And I think that that's an important thing for restaurants to do is, again, communicate what the social agreement is from the diner.
I'm asking an unrealistic question, actually, but that's okay because that's what I do well. If there is one piece of advice that you can offer restaurants, pro bono right here, based on our last conversation before phase 1, now we're in phase 3, because I asked this to you last time, what would be that one thing you would say, and now just across the board, restaurants should be doing now?
So you're getting 2 answers, and the first one is make your consumers wear masks. But the second one, the real answer here is I would make sure that you align your online journey with your offline journey, right? Restaurants spend a painstaking amount of effort and money to give you a certain experience when you sit down in the restaurant, and they do not apply the same thinking and energy to the online portion of the experience. Listings, websites, social media, online ordering, all these things. Well, guess what? You don't have a dining room now. Now it's almost entirely online. The only thing that is now happening offline is actually the food itself. I can't even sit inside your restaurant. At best, I can sit on a sidewalk, right? So now restaurateurs and operators should really be forced to think about what is it like to interact with my brand everywhere that a customer interacts with it, and make sure that those experiences match the experience you want to deliver in the store.
And well, restaurants' dining room is their whole neighborhood. They do have a dining room.
It's this room.
Right. No, but that's it. They do have a dining room. It's everybody's dining room. They actually have an opportunity to bring their dining room to everybody else. So I think it's also how you look at it too. It needs to be a very special experience.
Yep, totally agree.
Mystery question. Everybody knows mystery question. I get to ask Rev a question. Rev gets to ask me a question. We both don't know what the question is going to be, and it could be anything and everything. Do you want to ask first, or do you want me to ask first?
Oh, you get to go first, buddy.
All right. I just spoke to my beautiful friend, Dara Polak from Skinny Pig NYC, and she asked me a mystery question, but because she didn't copyright it, I'm going to use it. Thank you, Dara.
She's great.
Her personality, you know how many times I have to bleep out my segment with her? I was like, stop cursing. And then I found myself start cursing. I was like, oh man, it's contagious.
I was once a commercial radio DJ, so I learned how to train that out.
But what she asked me, I'm going to ask you. If you could abolish one food social media trend, what would it be?
Use of the acronym BOGO.
Huh?
You know what BOGO is?
No, should I?
BOGO is short for buy one, get one free. And your reaction is perfect because you know who uses the word BOGO? Not consumers. BOGO is a word that was invented in like a Subway executive boardroom, right? And real people do not use the word BOGO. Real people say buy one, get one free. And I always get insanely annoyed when I see advertising and marketing from restaurants promoting BOGO. It's such a stupid acronym and no one uses it. I would abolish use of the acronym BOGO.
You know what that made me think of?
No.
You ever hear, did someone ever say guesstimate? So a guess and an estimate.
Yeah.
You know what my take on that is? A guess and an estimate means you have no idea. You're guessing on an estimate. What is that supposed to mean? Like, it really drives me up the wall. The moment someone says guesstimate, I'm just like, this person has no clue. I don't know. I don't know how you feel about that, but that's just like makes no sense to me. Okay, but what about food?
Well, you said social media trend, and I said BOGO. What do you mean by like a trend, like a food trend?
A food item that's a social media trend that you'd want to abolish.
There's nothing I hate enough that needs to be abolished. I wish vegans would keep it to themselves. How about that?
You just lost the whole vegan audience, my man.
I don't think I had one. So, nah. Listen, there's nothing I want to abolish. Like, everything's cool. So some of these things out there are a little silly, but it's all fair game, man. It's all fair.
I respect restaurants that do things. However, when I create stuff with restaurants, it's always flavor profile first, and then we go from there because we never sacrifice flavor profile. But one of the things my answer to Dara was the donut burger.
Oh, I'm okay with a Luther burger. I love Luther burgers.
Listen, I respect restaurants that do that because it works, but I just don't see, and maybe it's the one I had, but it was the first time I actually ate something that I generally disliked, and it had nothing to do with the actual location, but just a sweet donut, sweet donuts on a, I just can't, And you know I love anything and everything too. That was just the one thing that I was actually shocked that I was like, this thing needs to leave the planet.
All right, I got a real answer for you. It's not a trend, but I can tell you a food item that I'm very, very unfond of. I don't know if that's a word. I hate Smiler fries.
Okay, like I didn't know what BOGO is. What are smiley fries?
You ever seen that they're like little circle and it's got like a smiley face, like the have a nice day face, but it's like a mini tater tot or a potato.
You need to send me a picture of it because now I'm curious. So you'll have to. I have no idea. I've never seen it.
I did a study to discover all the types of French fries out there. There are 21, by the way, and one of them is Smiler fry. And to me, it's like the black sheep of French fries. They look silly. I don't like the way they taste. It's basically cutting room floor. Like, it's after they've made French fries and waffle fries and tater tots and mashed potatoes, whatever was left on the floor, they created something called Smiler fries, and they suck.
Okay, there you go. Interesting. So you told me BOGO and smiley fries today. Okay. Okay, so what's your question?
What is one thing that you do every single day, a daily practice that helps you to achieve your goals?
I love you, man. Last time you kept it so lighthearted and you asked me something about fries with or without cheese. So I really thought this was going to be like,
what's your favorite French fry topping? I think it was.
Yeah, right. That's right. Yeah. So I've recently come to the realization after 4 months of confinement and even, since we've spoken, one of the reasons why I was always trying to write down my goals for the following day or that day was because I felt like I had to achieve success. And then I started to realize it's not success I need to try to achieve. It's sort of like my happiness or sort of my state of mind or what I want to do that's going to make me feel joyful or happy. And then eventually, so it's actually a great question and very relevant to what I'm going through. I actually write before I go to bed on 3 Post-it notes at night, 3 things I want to feel. And those 3 things that I want to feel, I want to make other people feel as well. So it could be happy, it could be proud, or it could be confident, it could be achieve one thing today, it could be anything, right? And then I want to try to help other people feel that way. And then in the morning, I try to, at night I try to think about it. And then in the morning, usually I wake up in that mindset, because I find how I fall asleep at night, where my mindset is generally, it generally dictates what I achieve or how I feel the next day. And that's what I do every night, 3 Post-it notes, write down how I feel. And if I feel happy and inspired and motivated, I tend to achieve my goals, or I achieve goals that I didn't even know I had. And it really motivates me. Does that make sense?
That's awesome, man. I have a very similar practice. At the end of the day, I write down 3 to 5 things I'm grateful and proud of, and what are 1 to 2 things I want to solve tomorrow. I totally think that's an amazing practice.
Thank you. Actually, I'm grateful, I think, is one of the most powerful words. And I think once we can really be grateful, even about the little things, everything changes. I think humility and gratefulness are 2 things that anyone I've ever spoke to who's successful in their own right, whether it's raising a beautiful family and or having an amazing business or, whatever it may be, humility and gratefulness are the traits they always have. It's incredible.
Agreed. I keep 1 sticky note on my monitor. People put notes all over there. I have 1 and 1 only, and it's 2 words: constant gratitude.
See, I love that. And so I have 2 Post-it notes on my computer. It says, don't say and don't say like. That's totally different. Because I'm like, like.
I think I could use that too.
I'm getting better. But I'm learning to keep my mouth shut, because generally I'd rather have 2 seconds of silence. Usually I fill it up with so, and it drives me crazy. So I literally have those 2 Post-it notes on my don't say and don't say like. And then I read it in my head and I end up saying it because I just read it. But hey, Rev, thank you so much for our second Facing Time conversation. I am so grateful to you. You're the first person I've had on twice. If it wasn't for you, Facing Time wouldn't exist. And I can't believe I'm almost, I think 23 posts or 24 posts just on Instagram. I'm up to almost 1,400 followers already, with people who are just looking for inspiration, who inspire me. It's sort of just taken a life unto itself. And thank you.
Awesome, man. Thank you for having me. It was a wonderful conversation. I appreciate the opportunity to have it.
So follow Rev at Rev Ciancio on Instagram. You'll also see his podcast and everything there. And stay positive. Thank you so much, Rev. That was awesome.
Thank you. That was super fun. Can't believe you've never seen Smiler fries.
No, man. I mean, and buy one BOGO.
I hate that word.